Hey everybody, this is Perch. Where do you go for comic reviews? I'll read this mail. Well, let me just read the mail, but we're going to talk about comic reviews, how you do them, when are they honest or dishonest. Mail reads, Hey Perch, I haven't heard you mention the site Batman News. Batman-News, technically, and I have, but it has been a very long time for sure. For many years, it was doing a really great job at reviewing Batman and Batman-adjacent comic books. The reviews were always fair and insightful. I picked up a lot of cool books I normally wouldn't have based on their recommendations. The site was sold a few years ago and has been in steady decline. Earlier in October, the owners abruptly fired the entire review staff, and, at current writing of this mail, the site is not being updated. Before this, the review comments had dwindled to almost nothing except a couple deranged fans who only saw comics through the prism of Jason Todd and Two-Face. It was weird. There's a lot of reasons the site declined. One is that comics may be solid right now, but overall they feel stale and boring. It wasn't that long ago that Tom King Batman reviews were getting 50 to 100 comments on drop date. Everyone had a side, and it was fun. My question is, where do we go for honest reviews and thoughtful discourse? Maybe it's time for Perch to start one. You mentioned the Forbes contributor plan. Maybe it could work like that. Sure, it doesn't solve the boring comics problem, but they'll upswing soon enough, won't they? Won't they? That's where it ends. Man, a lot there. So first of all, I sad to hear that, although not terribly surprising, I guess. You said something in there, maybe you said a few things, but one of the biggest is, regardless of the sales numbers, whether they're good or not, whatever Comics Hub says, whatever Penguin Random House says, whatever comic creators say, the reality is this. If you go back, 15 years ago, a review would go up in comics. If you look back at the Civil War time, when we had Civil War, which led into, the Secret Invasion, the Dark Reign. If you were in that time period, or, close to the same time period, the New 52 time, when a New 52 book came out on IGN and they would review it, the reviews were often kind of, I don't know, DC was clearly giving them money at the time because they were loaded and somewhat insane. But if you looked at the comments, you would get like 100 people in there making comments. It was very active. And today you don't. And I think regardless, again, of what you believe about the numbers, whether you believe the comics are good, whether they're bad, an objective fact is that these sites, whether it's Apt or The Beat or Bleeding Cool or any number of things, a lot of them struggle to get even 5 to 10 comments on anything. The interest isn't there. Bluntly, is not there. And, again, did you like the Tom King run of Batman? Well, a lot of people did not. But if you liked it, cool. If you didn't like it, cool. During that run, the reviews that you would see on everything from Bleeding Cool to IGN to Batman News, you would see hundreds of comments, hundreds of comments on the comic. And today you don't. Why are there fewer reviews? Because the engagement is down. They don't make money and people just stop doing it. That's the biggest truth to it. People stopped putting reviews in there because there's just no money to be made. And if there's no money to be made, why bother doing it in the first place? The other problem that we have is that you made a comment in here. Let's see where it says. It says, Tom King Batman reviews are getting 50 to 100 comments on drop date. Everyone had a side and it was fun. Okay, so one of the other big problems that we have is that it's no longer fun to have a side. And starting around 2015, 2016, having a side started becoming cultural warfare. You couldn't have a side. If you had a side, it got tied to, are you a fan of Trump or not? Are you a Nazi? Are you a libtard? Are you a woke SJW? It became insanity. And you see that insanity today, and you see that insanity in the comments of my videos. You will see it. If I make a comment that, hey, Heather Antos is not going to throw you out of convention, rabid, frothy mouth lunatics will come in there to call me a woke piece of shit. If I make a comment that there are too many X books, some liberal lunatic will come in there and tell me I am a fascist because apparently the X-Men are LGBTQ friendly now, and if you oppose them, you are Hitler. I'm not exaggerating. Like the comments are there. It's no longer fun to just have a side. If I make a video, which I'm doing in a car, and I mistake the year on something, there will be some dickhead who will come in who goes, you don't even read comics, tourist. You said it was 2016, it was 2014. Jesus, how would you not know that book, man? Like that's what we're in right now. It sucks. It it fully sucks. It's not fun. No part of this is fun. Um, it is more fun when people can have other sides and argue fiercely, and they don't them and a bunch of their, dogmatic, loser friends don't dogpile you because it's the problem is I think people still like to brawl, to still have arguments, but the arguments themselves aren't fun. It's not fun to go in and battle when the responses you're going to get are you are Hitler. If you go to Reddit and you read some of these threads, if somebody's like, I don't really like the new Iron Fist, what they gave it to a little girl, I don't even understand. And immediately you're like, you misogynistic piece of shit. I'll bet you're like JD Vance too, huh? Fuck you. And that, like, how is that fun? How is that argument fun? I find myself looking back wistfully at the days when people would talk about who would win between, the Hulk and the Thing, or does the Thing have a big rocky penis that he's throwing around? And people would get all wound up arguing about that. But at no point did everybody get in there and go, you're a fascist and should be shot and killed like Charlie Kirk. Like, like that's the mode we're in now. It's not fun arguments. It's not all in everybody having a side. It's everybody's got some insane hostile position. If you go like again, you could see in the comments of my own videos, I suggest, hey, I actually don't think Superman was a floppity flop flop flop, and it's libtard, you fucking liberal, like that like what we're talking about an opinion on, yeah, it's not even an opinion, it's an objective fact, but we're talking about box office numbers, and it's turning into you just like the gays, and it's like what is this? This isn't a good argument. I think that's that I think that has to get solved. If you're gonna have honest reviews, well, first of all, by the way, I'll just throw this out there as well. I don't even care about honest reviews as long as the site itself puts its bias on its sleeve. Like, they're like some of the X fan sites are like, we love everything X-Men. All X-Men books are good for us. And so we are going to find the good out of every book we read. And so the reviews are all glowing. They're glowing reviews of the X books. But I don't even care. That's fine. I mean, they said that's what they were going to do from the jump. So if you read it, you knew this bias going in, and it can be fine. It's not. It'd be nice if you had a fair and balanced site, and I agree. Batman News was a pretty good balanced review site. They had their biases too, but by and large, on the whole, it was pretty nice. Um, it it'd be great to have those kinds of reviews or people admitting, when they have their biases. That's fine too. But the discussion around it cannot be this. I don't even know the right term for it. Maybe some of you can help me. This just lunatic froth at the mouth craziness that goes on. It's absurd. And you saw a lot of this back in like 2016 when, somebody like, I like this Robin issue back in the night. He's like, that's my Chuck Dixon. That man is literally Hitler. Fuck him. And it's like, okay, what are we talking about? We're not talking about the comic anymore. We're talking about the creator. It's like the amount of people who went from Next Wave is the smartest Marvel comic of all time to Next Wave is, a grooming piece of shit done by somebody who should be tied up by their testicles and drug around by a bus. It's like, okay, we're not talking about the comic anymore. We're talking about your issues with Warren Ellis. That's the problem with reviews. In part, it's the reviewer. In part, it's how the world is now looking at these reviews because they no longer have the maturity or the intelligence to actually be able to argue or debate or or kick these things around. It's World War III. if I say something on this channel you don't agree with, a lot of you are good at this. I'll pull out one guy who I think, we probably disagree on stuff. Okay. It's what, infamy or death, I think. I'm sure I've got this wrong. Anyway, um, I'm calling, yeah, infamy or death. I think he and I disagree on plenty of things. I don't feel though. I feel like we had an argument a while back on quality of movies or something, and we completely disagreed. It didn't feel like even though I didn't agree with his point, he clearly didn't agree with mine. It didn't feel like we were like, and now the world will end, and I will forever haunt your family. I mean, just felt like normal. That's, I mean, it just felt like a disagreement, and disagreements can be fun. They don't have to be personal. They don't have to be like taking shots at each other. I've got lots of friends who are Republican. I've got lots of friends who are Democrats. I've got lots of friends who are fed up with both. I'm in that camp for what it's worth. Uh, you can easily get along with people. You can easily have arguments. You don't have to take it to this personal, like, oh yeah, well you're an incel. It's like when people were like, I don't like the new Captain Marvel. I don't like that it's rebooted for the 5th time. I don't like that they took a. I mean, look, I'll give you a really a fun one on Reddit. Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel, Carol Danvers, had this black and gold costume that when she flew around, there's basically a thong up her ass. Depending on the artist who drew it, her ass was hanging out. Sometimes it was like a regular kind of swimsuit. Sometimes it was like both cheeks. The Captain Marvel cheeks were right there. And they changed her costume to give her a full bodysuit for all intents and purposes. And and they basically covered everything up. And some people were like, I don't like this, I like the old suit with the ass. And to watch the hatred that came out of that of, no, if you like this, you hate women. And it just the silliness that emerged from that thing. It is perfectly reasonable to say, I like the suit with ass on it. I am a full-blooded man and I like ass. It looks good to me. You could say I don't want to see ass in my superheroes. You could say I like the full costume better. In many ways, the full costume was designed better. Did in almost every way was better as terms of a functional costume for a superhero to fly around in. But I admit, her flying around with her ass out was a hell of a lot more fun. But it these are the kind of arguments you can have. But if your response to that one is you are a liberal who wants to see all women in sexless burqas, or you are a incel who is scared of women, then what kind of that's not a logical argument. That has nothing to do with comics as a whole. If you want to get reviews back, then we've got to get the dialogue and the conversation around those things out of lunatic town and into something productive. Anyway, there you go. I talked about Captain Marvel's ass a lot. Thanks for listening.